let's get right into this review for Predator Badlands. Alright, so this film is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who previously worked on one of my favorite films called 10 Cloverfield Lane back in 2016. Now the film he directs here is the newest take on a Predator character. This beloved series started all the way back in 1987 with the original film titled Predator, and there's been a solid fan base surrounding the story presentation here, with numerous films expanding the lore and world building up until now. And right off the bat, I have to say I was intrigued with this film from all the previews I've seen, and I thought this could potentially turn out to be a pretty darn solid standalone popcorn action flick. So now that I've seen the film, what did I think about the cinematic package here? This was just a decent time. To go over the positives first, I found the overall CGI and camera presentation to be great. The visuals paired well with the story, and I felt thoroughly immersed into the planet of Jenna, in which the majority of the story takes place. Something about the entire planet did feel dangerous, and I loved seeing it through a Predator's lens. Another positive was that there were some pretty cool fight sequences sprinkled throughout the various segments, worthy of shutting your brain off for. Now I can say all of the fight sequences played out effectively, but there were more than enough fun moments sprinkled throughout to justify the overall impact of the action sequences. As for my last positive, I thought the entire cast did well enough with their characters here, so kudos to everyone involved. Also, I've always enjoyed Elle Fanning's performances through various films, and I thought she did a great job here, especially as the only humanoid present for the majority of the story. Now as for the negatives, I think the biggest flaw for me was how predictable the entire narrative experience ended up being. You can see the plot happening a mile away. The story couldn't have turned out to be more generic for an action film. Maybe if you're a hardcore Predator fan, this can be more than enough to satisfy your needs from a modern take on Predator. But as for me, I have to say everything just started to feel a bit samey as the story progressed, whether it be for the action sequences or the barebone drama at hand. So the entire experience started to simmer down around the halfway point to the finish line. Now the overall pacing here was pretty solid, but there were spurts of moments that did feel like a slog to get through, and this is mostly due to the fact that the story again was fairly predictable each step of the way. Also, to be vague for spoilers' sake, there was a particular fight scene that bothered me, as I just couldn't fathom how a character garnered that much combat experience to be able to hold their own. With everything considered, my final score for Predator Badlands is 7 out of 10. This was a one-time watch experience for me. This can be a serviceable film if you don't go expecting anything more than a B-tier popcorn flick that sometimes did stoop down into the C-tier zone. There were enough cool action sequences and fun moments sprinkled throughout for me to see past the flaws involved. I'm just a tad bit bummed out that the film didn't turn out to be anything more than the bare minimum required from an action popcorn flick. Thanks for checking this review out. I'll have another one coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. I hope to see you on my next upload, but until then, stay safe out there and peace.